1 year later, I'm saying the same thing. Some things never change. Welcome to episode 27 of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Grand Final week. I got a bit of deja vu because I'm pretty sure I said that.
I swear we've done this before.
I swear we've done this before as well. Ladies and gentlemen, as ever, I'm Charlie Carter. Joining me on my right-hand side, as always, Stuart Ailey. How are you, sir?
I'm well, Charlie.
Good.
You?
Oh, not too bad, thanks. And on my left, returning in all his glory with an unnamed chocolate milk drink, Steve Green. How are you, sir?
Morning, Charlie. Morning, all. Thanks for having me.
Cannot believe they're not sponsoring us. This is the nation's number one podcast, right?
Trying.
It's a generic...
it's generic until we get something.
Other chocolate milk drinks are available. And as over, twiddling the knobs over in the corner there, our American friend, producer Nick. How are you, sir?
Here I am, feeling good after another Alabama Crimson Tide win. 59-31 overall.
I've definitely heard that before.
59. That's college football, Stephen.
Definitely heard that before.
Okay, sorry, I was going to ask.
The Tide. It's got nothing to do with swimming.
Go Tide.
Nothing.
Go Tide.
Roll Tide, man.
Go the Tide.
Hey, Crimson Tide, our mascot's an elephant. Guess that one.
I like it.
No, yeah, that makes no sense at all.
Well,
it's got a history, but it's convoluted.
Well, obviously, but it makes, yeah.
As someone this time next week who will be in Dallas, is it worth going and seeing the Dallas Cowboys?
If you can get tickets, I
Yes.
would definitely go see the Dallas
Just for the
Cowboys.
experience. I'll probably lose, but just,
Or just do a stadium tour, perhaps?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I've heard somewhat recently that their stadium's pretty good.
It's big.
It's
It is
huge.
It is very large.
Yeah.
It's huge.
We should get one in Sydney.
Yeah. Let's knock one down and start. Let's knock one down.
We've got a bit of space at Moore Park. We can whack one up.
Yeah.
Let's speak to the government, see what they can do. Well, as I mentioned, it's Grand Final week, and we couldn't do an NRL Grand Final themed show without our resident NRL expert, Steve.
That's right.
Your boys have made it again.
Yeah, we scraped through. Beat Melbourne on the weekend.
Scraped through.
So, another exciting week. Quite possibly could send me broke with buying merchandise and the like. But yeah, always great to be in a grand final and be excited for Sunday night.
Now, do you feel that it's the Roosters against the rest of Australia? You feel that everyone's going for Canberra just because they're the underdogs?
Definitely, and
Sorry, just getting the Viking clap in. Sorry.
Oh.
Stewie's got the clap. Sorry, everyone.
I thought a mosquito had come across.
No, just
my goodness.
Just getting the Viking clap in.
I didn't know what was going on.
You know.
I was going to try and keep that quiet, Stu, but anyway.
I told you that in confidence.
It's out there now.
Oh, well.
It is. It's and rightly so. Everyone hates the Roosters, and that's good.
You'll take it.
Yeah.
Who's hated more, the Roosters or Melbourne?
Oh, I was going to go Manly.
No, Melbourne. People are starting to like Manly.
I think
It's a
the
bit weird,
Roosters because they're up here.
Yeah, right.
So if roles were reversed,
I've heard more people say that they don't like Manly, but having said that, no one seems to like the Storm unless you are living in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And even then, not all of them are convinced.
No, but anyway, whatever. I don't care about them.
Yeah, now, Roosters we sort of expect to be there or thereabouts these days. This is their second grand final in a row, is it not?
it is.
When was the last time a team went back-to-back, mate?
92-93 with the Broncos, and they did it in 97-98, but wasn't a unified competition.
That doesn't count.
Why doesn't it count?
Well, because it was in Super League, and that wasn't a proper competition.
Okay, can we go into that a bit more?
Oh.
What happened there?
Well, that was when Rupert Murdoch wanted to create his own competition. So
that guy.
So he bought a few teams, created a few teams. You know,
like
the
a World Series
the great Adelaide Rams, the Hunter Mariners,
Western Reds.
The Western Reds. Well, they were in the NRL, and then they went across. That's when the rugby league world was fighting with each other.
So
so there was two competitions,
like World Series cricket, but for rugby league.
Yeah, a little.
Okay.
Yeah, a little.
Interesting.
Yep.
Well, we've come out of that the other side in flying colours, haven't we?
Sort of.
Yeah.
And as mentioned, it's grand final week. ANZ Stadium hosting it for potentially the last time before it gets knocked down, or is that something that will get delayed and delayed and delayed?
Yeah. Well, watch this space. Watch this space. It's still got a. Have they found a contractor to build the new stadium at Moore Park?
Well, I think that the budget's not
decided yet.
It's a bit of a roadblock. The budget.
Oh boy, could just be putting some posts up and just playing in a field.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Well, if it's the same mob that built Wembley Stadium, then we'll see in a decade.
That took forever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, before we get too much into the grand final itself, why don't we talk about the journey of how the teams ended up there? We mentioned in the last show the last show that I did anyway, I think we mentioned briefly that the Eels had gone 58-0 in the qualifying final.
Well played, Brisbane.
Yeah, and then they followed it up by, failing to score against Melbourne and losing 32-0.
Yep.
Thanks, Eels.
Well done, Parramatta.
Yeah.
So they left their fortress Bank West.
Yeah.
Can't play outside of Bank West, so...
Yeah, that's it's sad for them, but it's good to see them actually get up into the 8 for once rather than collecting Hamish's kitchen utensil of ineptness.
of ineptness, yeah.
Yeah, I say that quickly. That's a tongue twister.
Aye.
Your mates, the Rabbits, did the Sea Eagles over, and, then Canberra.
Controversial. Should we just rewind a bit? What do you think, Stephen? Do you think Trbojevic deserved to be sin-binned for 10 minutes? It was a tug of the jersey.
You got to give two answers.
There was
here.
more of a hand on the shoulder. That didn't knock the guy over.
No, they tripped over each other.
The clash of legs.
Yeah.
So the big question would be, we're dealing in ifs and buts, but if he didn't knock his legs with his legs,
yep,
would he have hit the deck?
Good question.
Or
if he didn't have his hand
if he didn't have his hand on his jersey and they both fell over,
just be play on.
Would have been play on. That's the issue. Doesn't matter now. It's all fish and chip wrappers. But yeah, Rabbitohs get the call go their way.
Got through
again.
Yep.
Well, it didn't do them too many favours in the preliminary final against the Raiders. I, with my limited knowledge of the NRL, thought that was a bit of an upset.
No. I would have thought that the Raiders would have been favoured in there down in Canberra with a crowd, big crowd down there doing the Viking clap.
It's all about the crowd noise, is it?
Pretty much. The Raiders have been playing. They've been playing good football all year, so I think they were. I thought they would have thought that they would have been favourites going into that game and confident of beating the Rabbitohs. I don't think the Rabbitohs' form has been that great all year. To be fair, they've been a bit up and down, and a bit. There's guys in and out, and Sammy Burgess is usually in for 1 and out for 5.
Is that him done now
suspension? No, I think he'll play on. I think he just needs to just take a rest from football for a bit and disappear and maybe sit on the beach for a bit and just forget about it and come back. I think he got a bit jaded by the end of it. He's probably a bit physically and emotionally tired by the end of the season. So, but yeah, the Raiders played really well in a tight game, got the job done, and now they're in a grand final for the first time since 1994.
Wow, good on them. And then your boys in the other preliminary final, knocking over the Mexicans, Melbourne Storm.
Grand final 1, would you call it?
Yeah. No, it was, that was a prediction all season. It was going to be those two, but Canberra disrupted that preparation. But, it played well. It was a tough game. Interesting first minute where two blokes get sin-binned in the first tackle, literally.
Yeah. Good to see some almost punches thrown.
Yeah.
Almost punches.
They shaped up to each other. It's like, well, go on. But no, we can't do that anymore.
Can't do that anymore.
No, we just have slapping and handbags at 10 paces. But really good win. Defence stood up again. They turned over a lot of ball, the Roosters, and Melbourne really attacked hard. But just a really solid defence that the Roosters put up, and hopefully they take that into next week.
Fair enough. Well, as ever, you can get in touch with us through our socials, which I'll give out in just a second. We've got a few questions here. If you do want to send questions to us or comments about this show or questions for any future show that we might do, producer Nick over there usually gives a bit of advance warning on the socials and lets you know where you can put those questions. So you can contact us using the hashtag KSC Podcast. We're on Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Centre. We're on Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports. That's plural. But Twitter is singular, at Kingsgrove Sport. They can't handle that plural. You're probably, hopefully, watching us on YouTube, listening to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or KSCpodcast.com, as well as any other podcast player. Producer Nick?
Yep. So a lot of podcast platforms, you just add the RSS feed to whatever. So you just add the podcast to whatever platform you want to listen on. So that link is in the YouTube description.
Fantastic. And one of the questions that we've got in, just on the topic of Storm there, from Noah_Gledhill, I think I pronounced that correctly.
Like Gledhill. Yeah.
Were Melbourne robbed with the penalty count?
I think Stephen thinks no.
There's
that question.
a diplomatic answer in there somewhere.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, no, I think is the...
Those aren't as fun to listen to. Give me the non-diplomatic answer.
I think that was the...
I don't think you'd be able to
No,
Can't
air
air
it.
No.
I think we'd be hauled over the podcast coals.
Are we bound by broadcasting laws? Probably.
I think you just have to put an
Probably.
explicit content warning on
No,
if we descended into
Let's
that.
keep it family friendly.
Is it because the Roosters actually won a penalty count that Noah's a bit jaded by
Uh-oh. You poked the bear, Noah.
Oh dear.
8-6 the penalty count was to the
So
Roosters.
it wasn't like it was lopsided.
And that probably would have been about the first, well, maybe 2 or 3 times they've won a penalty count all year, Noah. So pull your head in. So the answer's no.
Please don't let that put you off from writing in. I think this sort of interaction is good for the podcast. We're not always going to agree with you.
No.
And when we don't, it will be funny.
It is funny.
If...
No, please shop with us, Noah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. mainly cricket.
Kurt Badman on Instagram says, if the Raiders win, is there any chance of them going back-to-back next year? Now, I feel like I should ask you this one first.
Well, I mean, maybe. I mean,
Yes.
Yes, there's always a chance that you could go back to back, but it's a slim chance. I mean, it's a slim chance that the Roosters can win back to back. I mean, it hasn't been done, like we said, it hasn't been done since 92, 93. So, I mean, you've obviously had great Melbourne Storm teams during that time when grand finals can't go back to back. You've had Manly not be able to go back to back. You've had the Roosters not been able to go back to back. The Rabbits kind of haven't been able to go back to back. So winning back to back premierships is difficult. There's always a chance. Look, I'm not sure the Raiders are sort of the team that I don't want to be disparaging to them, but I don't know if they quite got the team to go back to back really.
Would they make any signings?
If someone's going to go back to back, it's probably the Roosters are probably the best chance for a while. I would have thought.
Well, do you reckon go 3 in a row?
Well, I don't know about 3 in a row. I mean, they've got to win on Sunday first. If they don't win on Sunday, they're not going to win 3. So let's get Sunday out of the way first, and then we can worry about seeing if they can do a 3-peat. But there's always a chance. Mathematically, there's always a chance when you start the season. If you've won it the year before, there's always a chance. Maybe not a big chance, but there's always a chance.
Same question to you, Steve.
What was it?
Can the Raiders go back to back?
If Roosters don't go back to back, can the Raiders?
Can they? Yes.
Will they?
Chances are slim. As it's been shown for goodness knows how long.
In the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Or over 20 years.
Well, before we get on to our predictions, we've got a few here on Facegram. There's a new one. We've had
Facegram.
We've had U-Tunes.
No, we've got Facegram.
Facegram.
I prefer Instabook myself, but
On U-Bookface.
Yeah, U-Bookface.
So
They're all owned by the same people, aren't they?
pretty much.
They are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Adam P on Facebook says Raiders by 4. Lockie_49 on Instagram. That's not a prediction. That was a
statement.
That's a statement. Para beating Broncos 58-0. That was great. Just a shame what happened the following week.
Brisbane were terrible.
what was the question?
That was the
Nick?
What's that now?
What
Sorry?
was the question where the answer is Para beating Broncos 58-0?
In the predictions.
No idea.
We've had a formatting issue, but
Maybe not.
That's
It's
okay.
just about
No, I put it under predictions. But
anyway,
that's-
doesn't matter. He predicted it.
Maybe
he predicted it. Maybe he predicted it before.
You
the
know,
game.
man, I just wrote it down. Didn't even read it.
Yeah,
Just
mate.
wrote it down.
all good. Don't
But
worry.
he did. He put
yeah.
Para beating Broncos.
It's not the end of the podcast because of that.
Yeah,
Lockie,
no, I'm done.
All right, that's it. See you next week. Bye.
Lockie_Fenton. Raiders to take it in a close one. Roosters will be fatigued after a physical game last week. Playing devil's advocate, they've had a week and a half off now, and maybe this is a sort of evidence of Australia's team being the Raiders at the moment.
No.
There's not too much love on these questions for the Roosters.
No, I'm quite happy with that. But did he not see Canberra and South just absolutely belt the bejesus out of each other?
Mm. Yeah. I think that was probably more physical than...
Like, Josh Hodgson was absolutely flogging blokes.
Yes.
It was real physical, and it was a great battle to watch.
Plus, it was obviously it was a bit closer, so
and you
bit
could
more out of
see
you mentally that way.
You could see the Raiders would at times were just fatigued.
Cooked.
They were cooked, and South, if they'd got it right, had their opportunity to roll over them.
Yeah.
I did watch that. I don't usually watch South games because they annoy me. But I sat down to see, if we happen to get through this week, what we were looking for. And I think the Raiders, there was probably two stages of the game where they were on their last legs. But South just couldn't get through.
Mm.
And they defended gallantly. It was an awesome display by the Raiders. But I think there are times where if the Roosters are up and about, I think they're going to have their opportunity to get some points.
Do you think the old cliche that the Raiders played their grand final last week could be true? This one?
Look, it looked like a very emotional night down there. The start of the game, and then at the end there where they were just going berserk.
Yeah.
That would have been an awesome experience, but it's how you react after that. The next couple of days, how long it takes you to come down from that, and just how good the body is at this stage of the season because you got one game to go.
I mean, Rick will be obviously quite professional, get them up as best he can, but having the club having not made a grand final for since 1994, and then the Roosters sort of been used to being in a grand final. Their last year, they've been in quite a few recently. Probably gives the Roosters the edge, I would have thought, in terms of just dealing with the grand final week, knowing what to do, having a better preparation where the Raiders might be having to run on emotion, and just the sort of the novelty of it, and just sort of pushing through that way to try and just keep the momentum going, which I think may, like you said, if it gets tight, it gets down to the end, you might find that they've run out of juice. And the Roosters could come over the top.
All right, well, let's hook into a couple of predictions then.
Well, actually, no. Before that, there's a couple of things that I need to ask Stephen as the Roosters expert.
This will be good.
There's a couple. There's a couple of things going on, at the Roosters. So, are you confident that Luke Keary's ankle will be fine and we'll be able to get through the game?
Geez, I hope so. He's a good player.
Yeah.
He walked off limping against who'd we beat a couple of weeks ago? South. He limped off there, and they said he was in a moon boot for a while. Apparently, again, he limped off on Saturday night. But I think they'll do everything they can to get him right. They're talking about needles. If they have to do it, make sure you get it right. We've seen how wrong it goes with Graham Lunglands back in the day. But
well, can he play on one leg like Cooper Cronk played with one arm last year?
I think it's tougher with legs than arms.
It's difficult to run.
Especially when you got a kick.
Yes. Will Jake Friend play?
Ooh, good one.
Hasn't played for a long time.
Yeah, that's my issue. Sam Verrills is doing an unbelievable job.
Or will you put him on the bench?
And then you sacrifice a forward, or a back, or a front rower, or a back rower, or you take Friend as he can go on in replacing a back rower, and just have hit ups and it's match fitness. He hasn't played for ages, is
it better to keep the side as it is and just Jake? I know you're the experienced player.
He's co-captain.
But
I don't know. It's, if you leave him out, do you get the senior blokes offside who are great mates with him, a bit dirty about their mate missing out? Or it'd be tough on Verrills to completely say, no, you're done. Friend's going to start.
I think that'd be a big mistake.
For me, I'd leave the team as it is.
Yep.
1-17. But, you know, Robbo knows his stuff. So I'll leave it to him to decide. I won't give him a call this week.
Won't ring him.
No.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, good call. It's Grand Final week. And, of course, it is Cooper Cronk's last game.
Is he retiring after this?
He's retiring.
Right.
Yeah. How do you think he will go? And where does he sit in the Parthenon, or what do we call it, of rugby league greats?
I think Pantheon's the word you're looking for.
That's the word.
Parthenon is the temple.
That's the thing in Greece. Yeah.
He's probably been there. But it's 9th Grand Final, I think it is.
That's ridiculous.
I might be wrong.
9th Grand Final.
Yeah.
I think is he not trying to win 3 grand finals in a row?
Yeah, he's going for 3 in a row.
One with Melbourne, one with the Roosters, and trying to go for the second one.
Look, he's just a really good game manager. He directs team. He showed that with one arm last season. He just directed the team around. You've got to be here. You've got to be there. Just, you know, and there was a couple of plays there on Saturday night where if he wasn't there, Melbourne score and the result's a totally different result. So, look, he's just a brilliant player. He's played the longevity of him. He's over 360 odd games. Just a battle-hardened warrior, and for him, I hope the Roosters get over the line. Nothing to do with me.
nothing to do with you.
No.
Nothing to do with you.
So did you have a score prediction?
Canberra 14-12.
Just leading us down the garden path one way, and then there's the twist at the end.
Yeah, just...
Do you really feel like that, or were you just trying to get in before Stu?
Oh, look, yeah, a bit of both. No, I think, I think the Roosters win it, and it'll be tight for probably an hour, and then the Roosters kick away and hopefully show their class in getting the job done.
Stu?
Well, I'm probably going to go against all form in history, considering that the Raiders have only won 1 finals game in Sydney out of 11 in recent times, and I think they've only beaten the Roosters once in probably about the same number of games, something like that. So, but I'm going to go the Raiders in Golden Point, just to make it exciting for those who have no real interest in the game.
Speaking of which, my
20
prediction.
20 all at the end of regulation, and the Raiders will win it in Golden Point.
20 all, wow, and then 21-20. That's exciting, Stu.
Why not?
I hope for the ticket buyers that happens. Well, look,
Friday will be my last day at work. I'll have collapsed. I'll have collapsed at ANZ.
Look, my limited knowledge of the NRL, I would have just said Roosters. In terms of a score prediction, I reckon 28-12. I think that the Roosters are going to steamroller them. I'm basing that on looking at the stats, which don't tell you anything, because it's a grand final, and you can never really... Yeah,
True.
Basically, Roosters won both the previous games this season. 18-22 was the score at the Raiders' place, and 30-24. You said that was Magic Round, didn't you?
In Brisbane, yeah.
Brisbane. I don't know when you said that. I haven't seen you for a while.
And what a Magic Round it was.
Why? What happened, Stu?
Oh, it's just, well, actually, the Tigers did win. We flogged Penrith. It was great. But, yeah.
I can't remember.
It's Magic Round. Everybody was in Brisbane. All the teams were there. It's fantastic.
I can't remember if Power won that week or not.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm purely basing it off history. Roosters won it last year. Steve's an ardent Roosters fan. I don't want to annoy him. Roosters to win.
When's that stopped you before?
Doesn't stop Stuart.
No.
Well, usually when I annoy him, it's not intentional. I'm not setting out to wind him up. Alrighty, is there anything else that we want to talk about there with the NRL before we move on to some other sports?
Well, yes. Was it Cam Smith's last game on the weekend? What do we think?
I don't think so.
No, you think he'd be talked back into going around again?
Yeah. I was watching NRL 360 last night, and they made a good point that, you know, he's virtually doing 2 jobs down there at the moment. He's playing hooker and also being a bit of a half combination on his own.
Yeah.
If they can get a decent halfback to sort of take over a little bit more, then he just does his job and he's still one of the best hookers going around.
Have they got decent halfbacks?
Well, that's the problem. That's what.
Well, have they got decent enough halfbacks? I mean, it's difficult to replace Cooper Cronk.
Yeah, well, they mixed it. Like Munster was in and about.
I mean,
they got that Brandon Smith.
Munster's at 5'8" and is a world class player. So
yeah. But do they turn around and put him in at halfback? And
well, then have they got a 5'8"? I mean, they're looking because the reports are that was it Brodie Smith might be going to Brisbane?
Croft.
Brodie Croft, going to Brisbane. So, but he's sort of fallen out of favour, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think things are all rosy down there with him. So I think he's looking to get out. Yeah, I don't know. I think if they can get a solid enough 7 to sort of fit in there, I don't see any reason why he doesn't play on.
Now, what about this question? Now, so if Smith retires, does Bellamy go as well? Does he?
Well, I think the main question is if Smith retires, who referees the game?
Well, that's true. I mean, the refs are going to have to do it on their own.
Yeah,
which is going to be difficult.
And they're going to struggle.
Yeah,
aren't there already 2 refs on there plus the touch judges?
Yes, but then
plus
Cam
the video ref.
But Cam tells them what to do.
Oh,
so it's
nice to have that much power, wouldn't it?
Well, it's just easier for them that way.
Well, I think that's where. Well, I mean,
is that where that question came from before? That's why
Cameron Smith probably had a shocker on Saturday night because they lost the penalty count. Yeah, so you got to have a look in your own backyard. No,
so maybe he's right. Maybe he's right. They were robbed because obviously
they weren't listening to
Cam. They made an error and that's why Melbourne lost.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he could do. Do you reckon? Maybe that's what he should do once he retires? He should become the boss of the refs.
He should be the video ref, maybe.
No, he should become the boss of the referees because he's been the greatest referee in the history of the game while playing, has he not? And he can look after the refs, so there'll be no more bad calls.
I feel like you've opened a can of worms, mate.
Look, does Bellamy go? What's his motivation levels? Has he got enough energy to go around again to rebuild a team without Smith, Cronk, Slater? That's where he probably sits down and goes, well...
He's got to start it. He's basically got to start again.
How long is it going to take me to get this mob of blokes up to the standard he wants?
Yeah.
That's probably a question he'll have to ask himself. If not this off-season, the following off-season.
Yeah, because he's still contracted, I think, for a little while. So
yeah,
could be interesting.
Yeah, so it's probably motivation levels for him, I'd say.
Yeah.
Very good. Alrighty, I think that just about wraps up the rugby league for this show. Other sport waffle.
Before that, I think everybody should give us their predictions about
who's going to win.
Who's going to win? Who's going to win and who's going to... Well, okay, we haven't done this. Who's taken under Clive Churchill?
Well, I don't know the names of any of the players playing, so I'll just...
Clive's not playing.
Clive's not playing.
No. Yeah. Luke Keary's the one I heard earlier, but if he's got a dodgy knee, that might be a big call. This is the only one I've heard.
Well, he won it last year, so...
Luke Keary, done.
If the Roosters win,
you go, Stu.
If the Roosters win, he's having a big game. I'm going to go with my mate Teddy.
Bugger.
Who's Teddy? Tedesco.
That guy.
Latrell,
him. Yeah.
Latrell Mitchell. Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah, if he's a big game, then the Roosters. I think if he is a big game, the Roosters are racking up a big score.
We've probably gone 1, 2, 3. So that throw a trifecta on. One of us, I reckon, will if the Roosters win. But then that doesn't always go to plan if the team winning the comp doesn't get the best player on ground.
Yeah,
as shown in 2013 when Cherry Evans got it when the Roosters won against Manly. But anyway,
he was fantastic though.
Not that I've got a long memory.
He was fantastic.
Oh, wasn't he?
Yeah,
wasn't he?
Well, it's a bit like it's like Billy Slater winning the Royal Lewis medal when New South Wales won the Origin a couple of years ago.
Well, don't get me started on that. I'm pretty sure that there's 2 teams playing in this State of Origin series. So why isn't there a New South Wales player attached to the man of the series?
Actually, in 94, when... Oh, no, hang on. Didn't break Clyde when they lost the grand final or something? Anyway, that's for...
I don't know. I was about 3 years old.
Let us know. I can't remember. I'm sure he won one when they lost the grand final. I think maybe to the Dogs. Anyway.
Well, I thought we'd look at a different rugby code now because there is a worldwide tournament happening. What do they call it? The World Cup.
The World Cup.
Rugby World Cup. That's it.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Wake up, mate. Wake up.
Welcome back.
Wake up.
Let's talk referees there.
Oh,
what
boy.
are they on?
Mate,
My
actually,
goodness.
no, forget Cam Smith being the head of NRL referees. I think he needs to go and be the head of rugby referees because they are having an absolute Barry Crocker.
Yeah, okay. Australia beat Fiji 39-21 in the first game, but lost to Wales in their second.
Yeah, because one of our blokes ran a bit too hard at one of the other guys, and we were penalised. It was ridiculous.
But was it as big a hit as this? And I'm sorry in advance, Nick. England 45, USA 7.
Actually,
was that AFL rugby?
No. Rugby union.
Rugby union. Sorry.
You're on your Crimson Tide again, aren't you?
Yeah, he's like Stephen. He's lost complete interest in this.
In
conversation.
my world, it's the only sport that matters.
In your world, it's the
what Crimson Tide.
This is the only sport I really follow. And
could be.
Is that a movie, Nick?
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide.
It's it's definitely a euphemism.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it might be. Anyway, actually, I would beg to differ that maybe England should have scored more points in that game.
They probably should have, but it's England. We always underperform
it is
in any sport. Like I told you before, we crave disappointment.
Actually, the game that we should talk about. What about one of a massive upset? Host Japan beating the number 1 ranked team in Ireland.
Yeah,
huge result for them.
Well, that's one of the fairy tale stories so far out of the 2 games that each team has played. There's still a long way to go in the tournament.
There is, there is
5 weeks or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
When you laugh, it's because they don't call AFL rugby, do they?
No, they do
Negative.
not.
No, that's
they
why.
do not.
It's all this. I mean, why not?
AFL is because AFL
You've
is just
merged.
AFL.
You've merged.
You put two
sports.
you put 2 games in it.
AFL is a completely different sport and a different
sport.
pitch.
Nobody refers to it as rugby. It came out. It's basically rugby, though, isn't it?
No.
AFL is Australian rules football.
Rugby union, rugby league are a similar sport. I'm not going to say they're the same because that will upset everybody. They're a similar sport. AFL is completely different.
I've kind of always put AFL's played on an oval, right?
Correct.
I've always, because it's played on an oval, I've put rugby union and AFL sort of together in my head.
Yeah,
no. But rugby union is played on a square.
You need to separate those
rectangle.
two. You need to separate those two.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah, and AFL is the one.
Is this thing still on?
Always learning.
AFL is the one where they had the grand final last week that we're not talking about. And they've got 2 sets of goals, so that if you're crap and can't get a proper goal, you still get a point.
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
But yeah, no, definitely.
It's all about competing. It's all about competing.
That's all right. I'm similar with
participation.
Yeah. I mean, you tried hard. You should get a point.
Well, and so you should apply that same logic to me talking about rugby.
That's fine.
I try hard. Give me a point.
Well, I'm the same with American football or gridiron.
One for you.
But yeah, long way to go in the Rugby World Cup. Ireland, as you said, are the number 1 ranked team. England seem to be putting their game together a little bit. Australia are always there or thereabouts. And then there's, of course, the All Blacks.
Yep. They'll probably win. So, there we go.
Well,
rugby talk done.
Just purely for the sake of the fact that my current boss is from New Zealand. I'm not sure if we've mentioned the podcast viewers. I don't work here anymore. But my new boss is a Kiwi.
I just told you they're going to win, so I've just helped you.
There's the worldwide release, so I'm going to back New Zealand.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I mean, they are. Look, I know Ireland was ranked number 1, but New Zealand are probably still the best team in the world. So.
Who comes second?
Australia.
That will be a good effort, to be fair. I mean, look, we did make the World Cup, the World Cup final in 2015. So
you've got a habit of overachieving, if you like.
We might sneak in. It probably should be. It should be England.
Yeah. It would be an achievement for England to even get to the final.
I'm going to say it'll be a Northern Hemisphere team that'll make the final.
Well, that narrows it down. England, Ireland, Scotland, France, Italy.
No, well, it won't be France, it won't be Ireland, it won't be Scotland. It'll be either Ireland or England.
Simru.
Okay.
Simru's getting in.
Simru?
Yep.
Okay.
The mighty Simru.
I don't think they'll make it, but anyway. Good luck to you,
Fair
Steve. Good luck to you.
Pronounced Cymru.
Nick.
For my Welsh friends out there.
Yeah.
Cymru, yes. Very good. Well, being in New South Wales, we've got to support the old Wales, haven't we?
Not really.
Given that...
Wake up, Steve.
Given that Nick managed to get his Crimson Tide mentioned in, I've got to. I'm wearing the cap. Lewis Hamilton. He won the Formula 1 this weekend, just gone in Russia.
In Russia.
The weekend before, Charles Leclerc. Oh, hang on. No,
Yes.
Singapore. Yeah, Singapore.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc won.
No,
No, he didn't.
No, Sebastian
Vettel won.
Yeah.
Leclerc won the previous 2, so it was 3 wins in a row for Ferrari. That's what I'm trying to say. Vettel looked nailed on for this race until his car failed.
Well, I would say it was Ferrari should have won.
Ferrari should have won. Isn't it ironic
But
that
they buggered themselves up. And
Isn't it ironic that Vettel's car failing is what brought out the safety car, which meant that Hamilton could pit and get out ahead of Leclerc. So from running 1-2, they run third. Steve loves Formula 1.
Are these the go-karts at Eastern Creek? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Formula 1. This is something that a lot of people find boring because it's cars going around in a circle. But at least they turn both directions. Not
Oh,
like
the
that.
crashes are exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's people that like it. Anyway.
I'll be the first to defend NASCAR because I've had the most fantastic naps of my life during NASCAR. So,
Well played.
true
sir.
story.
Well
Oh,
played.
that's fantastic. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we can beat that. Lewis Hamilton, because I'm not going to be able to mention it for the next few shows, by the time I get back, he will be a
He'll be world champion, yeah.
six-time
Yeah,
world
move on.
champion,
Okay.
which is a fantastic achievement. I know you want me to
Well,
move
no,
on,
it
but
is.
there's only one other person that has ever won a 6th world title, and he went on to win a 7th in Michael Schumacher during those Ferrari dominant years in the early 2000s. I think Lewis Hamilton should be respected as one of the...
Could get 8, I reckon.
Hamilton?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I hope he does, because I think he's got the talent to be spoken about as the greatest, if not one of the greatest drivers of all time. I think he's up there now. I think he's earned it. Everyone makes this argument, he's got the best car.
Well,
Okay, well, every world champion that there's ever been has had the best car. Maybe 2 or 3 that might not have.
Kind of the point.
Yeah, that's the challenge of Formula 1. You have to build your own car, you have to make it the fastest, and then you have to employ a driver that can extract the best out of it, and Lewis Hamilton is the king of doing that. And I feel very, very lucky to have been able to go to the race in China earlier this year and see him win.
Yeah.
Here.
Witness history. And Steve's all over that. Right, that'll do for Formula 1 for now. Do we want to do Premier League football? Because your boys are killing it.
Again, I won't mention the Premier League until we win.
You could be waiting a few years.
I'm hoping I don't have to wait that long.
I notice your mic cover is red in support.
I'm hoping we don't have to wait that long.
Do you have a Premier League team, or is this another Snorefest for you?
Liverpool.
Yeah, my buddy.
Is that genuine, or are you...
True story.
Yeah, right.
True story.
My buddy Mike follows Premier League pretty close to Liverpool's his team as well.
Yeah.
He's got the shoes on.
He never walks alone.
Liverpool's
He's
my
got the
dad's
shoes on.
team as well. I'm surrounded by plastic scousers, but I don't know why.
Tottenham.
Good old Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Look, we're not doing too crass hot this year, but
Well, and as we're winding down into other topics too, this ODI series with Aussies and
T20.
Sri Lanka,
The
it's been-
T20.
Well, I suppose we better do some cricket
The
talk.
Aussie girls.
Yeah.
The Aussie girls are
It's been quite an exciting series.
continuing on their tremendous form. It was out there last night in the freezing cold at North Sydney Oval. It was quite cold, and the Aussie girls got it done easily. They won by 9 wickets last night. I think it was a little bit too cold for the Sri Lankans. They could only manage to get 88, and the Aussie girls got it 1 down pretty easily. And then obviously on Sunday, great game on Sunday to start the series. Out at North Sydney, good weather, good crowd out there too, which was good to see, and 2 good innings. Beth Mooney scoring 100 for Australia, setting Sri Lanka a big total of 217, and then Adipadu, the Sri Lankan T20 skipper, who was recently signed by Kingsgrove Sports to use the Kingsport brand, went out and absolutely melted 100.
There is a marvellous photo on ESPN
It's been
Cricket
circulating, yeah.
So
Chamari Adipadu with the
started slowly, and then just sort of flipped the switch and went, I'll have a piece of this, and just started hitting 6s and 4s for fun,
marmalising it.
and got Sri Lanka pretty close. Unfortunately, there was not a lot of support for her. So in the end, the Aussie girls got the job done by about 47 runs. But, absolutely melted. Yeah, so she went from 51 to 113 in 22 balls.
Now, that's a fair effort.
Plenty of Kingsport floating around in both teams there on on the weekend and last night.
Last night, yep.
It's cool to see. It's very, very cool to see labels that I worked on designing in the hands of such capable cricketers.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you give yourself enough credit. You've done a great job on those.
Well, that's
rebranding of
Kingsport.
Kingsport.
It's cool to
really
it's cool
good.
to see them in the hands of people who are. And if any, Leah Tahuhu commented on Instagram the other day about the bat. Like, how good does the bat look?
Yeah.
And I responded to her and said something along the same lines, like, it looks even better in really capable hands.
Yeah.
Which was just a compliment to Adapadu, and I hope that Leah didn't take it as a slight to her, because I thought about it after I sent it, like,
I like it. Cop that.
I didn't mean to.
Cop that, Leah.
I didn't mean to imply that.
I mean,
that's not you.
You know,
I just was excited for the
possibly the world's fastest female bowler.
Yeah.
Leah Tahuhu. So she went well. Erin Burns, great 30-odd not out last night to see the girls home. Was good to see. So there's one more game to go in that series on Wednesday.
Where's that?
At North Sydney Oval again.
Oh, cool.
Game starts at about 2 o'clock. So the Aussies will be looking to wrap that series up before they head to sunny Brisbane for some one-day games.
Very good. And not just them that are playing cricket at the moment. Your cricket's just started up as well.
Yeah. So so we've got so obviously the Premier Cricket season started.
Is that our man from?
From Canberra. He's just going to report
Brighton?
from Canberra. He must have just made it. Brian Sharp down in Canberra, just saying hello to all the guys in Canberra, making sure that everyone's up for the grand final.
It's going to the open training session.
Yep. Yeah. Just checking them out, make sure they're going well. So the Premier Cricket season started. So the grade cricket season started, and the Shires cricket season started. So lots of cricket being played. Everybody started with a one-day game. So it was an early start for some people that maybe had to travel some distances. So some good performances put in there to start up. There was a few hundreds in grade cricket. So good to see the season's started and we're up and running.
I want to make mention. I mean, in first grade, Shires, Paul Donovan and Asanul Haq both made hundreds in round one. Cos Beetle with 92 as well. I've got to make mention of this guy here, Matt Davern, who is a long-time Kingsgrove Sports customer.
He is indeed. Yep.
He needs to start using Kingsport, in my opinion. He got 69 in first grade. I believe I'm right in saying that that's his first 50 in first grade. He's playing for Pennant Hills, so well done there. That was against Northwest Sydney. Well done, Matt. Good work. Now, my boys, Steve, we've had a tough few seasons, Macquarie Uni. We haven't won that much,
but you look good doing it.
We look good. We look good doing it.
Well, not this year apparently.
Well, this year I've decided not to play.
So
they've decided to
you've
go somewhere else.
Are you saying you've won?
And they won 3 out of 4.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, there's a pattern emerging, isn't there? Maybe I should stop playing cricket, and I have.
Yeah. Well, speaking of doing some winning, obviously the man on the left of the table, Steve Grant, head coach at Eastern Suburbs Dolphins Cricket Club. You had a decent enough start to the season.
Solid win for the first grade boys. Baxter Holt dominating with the bat. He is a serious talent and got a great head on his shoulders, and I'm looking for big things this season. Jack Preddy, first grade captain. His first game he took 4 for, so that was good. And big Henry Thornton took 3 for, so good to see him coming downwind at Waverley Oval, really ripping them through. So solid start. We got Southo this week. Hopefully we can continue on our merry way. 2-day cricket, so back to the grind.
That's the good stuff.
But yeah, so onwards and upwards for the mighty Dolphins.
Excellent.
Very good. Let's hope that's the start of a long and successful season for both your clubs and hopefully Macquarie Uni as well. Gents, I think that probably just about wraps it up for this episode. Thank you once again for joining us, Steve.
All good. Hopefully see you next week.
You won't see me. I'm off to America. I'm going on honeymoon.
All right. Yeah, that's right.
So I'm away for a month, so you can have this seat next time. Stu, we'll see you next time as well.
Yeah, probably.
I'll just give out the socials once again.
Yeah, go for it.
Facebook at Kingsgrove Sports Centre, Instagram at Kingsgrove Sports, Twitter at Kingsgrove Sport. Use that hashtag KSC Podcast, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. I've got them down pat, mate.
Everywhere.
I'm not even looking
you
at the
forgot
sheet.
YouTunes,
Facebook time.
Facebook time. You forgot all those.
Instabook.
I'll have to make a new graphic.
Yeah.
Grinder.
Oh, wow. And on that
That's
note,
just the ones you're
made
on.
it there.
that'll do us for episode 27 of the Kingsgrove Sports Centre Podcast. We'll see you next time for episode 28.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Go Ace.